formed against me shall prosper. Oh, it won't work.
No weapon
formed against me. Give me that ad-lib again.
No weapon.
One more time.
No weapon.
One more time.
No weapon.
Yeah.
Who the fuck y'all hoes?
Okay, the facts are back.
So who the fuck y'all hoes think it was, bitch, or what time of day it was? Okay.
You gotta understand that this is a community-based project. We're not getting any funding from the government. I seen bitches out there talking about, wait till Trump hears about this. Trump can suck my dick.
Look at his hair. Look at his hair. Did you see it? Oh, look at his glasses. What do we do with them? Oh, God, what do we do?
Well, you just let the wheat grow with the tear. And let him do the separating when he comes.
Feels good to be me. Meow, 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 meow. Where you been, boy? Meow, 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 meow. Up in the sycamore tree. Meow, 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 meow. Now where my Jesus freaks at? Jesus freak at. Jesus freak at. I guess I'm just a Jesus freak at. Jesus freak at. Meow, 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 meow. Now watch me walk up on that water. Meow, meow, meow. Walking on top of what I used to drown in. When you see me, you see the Father. We be 3 and 1, I go read about it. Apostolic like Sister Betty. Lately I've been cutting up niggas like confetti. Cause he's coming back, I gotta get ready. And if you start to asking questions, tell him I'm a Jesus freaker. And did you hear me stuttering? I'm a Jesus freaker. Jesus freaker. I'm a Jesus freaker. Jesus freaker. Just tell him I'm a Jesus freaker. Jesus freaker. Yeah. And when they see me walk up in the lobby, hear the rumors, I hear the gossip, bruh. If you gon' tell it, then go tell it right. Cause the tea I'm about to spill don't need no ice. So you can back it up, but you ain't my type. Cause I don't hang around with Antichrist. Accusers of the brethren. But undercover sinning again and again and again. Just like the rapture, they don't see it coming. I feel the love of Christ when I watch the Muppets. At least they ain't pretending they a puppet. You just pretend you hate it, but you love it. Jesus freaker. Jesus freaker. Yeah, you staring at a Jesus freaker. Jesus freaker. I ain't ashamed, I'm a Jesus freaker. Jesus freaker. And you ain't gotta ask a ride, I'm a Jesus freaker. Jesus freaker. What you apostolic silent prophet stepping out the ice limbo. You can take a flick while I adjust my halo. Ooh, hello. And when I snatch the mic and I rock the mic, add the echo. And I'm shining, I'm divine. I serve the true vine and pop the top of the Martinelli's kind of rap shot. Apostolic like Sister Betty. Flesh is a big flop. It's kind of dangerous like lifting weights and flip-flops. And anybody who don't like it, they can kick rocks. Feed me power pellets like my name was Chomp Chomp. Let me see you get loud. All my Jesus freaks getting rowdy. All my murder summer days is uncloudy. Talk your junk, but you ain't gonna make me doubt 'em. If you wanna know why, because I know too much about him. I'm a Jesus freaker. Jesus freaker. Don't look around, I'm a Jesus freaker. Jesus freaker. So tell me now where I'm a Jesus freak at. Jesus freaker. If you ain't ashamed to tell me where them Jesus freaks at. Jesus freaker. Let me tell me where them Jesus freaks at. Jesus freaker. And tell me This party where them Jesus freaks at.
I took a hit for the team. Took a bullet for the dream. That we would one day all be free. Free from prejudice. Free from sexism. Free from bigotry. I die for creativity. I die for freedom to be free. I died and left a legacy. Oh, but baby, I'm still live through technology. After the sun, then comes the rain. And after the storm, the sun will start shining. Blood, tears of pain, and tears of pain, and tears of pain, and a dash of struggle. Just be patient. Your destiny will manifest. Yes, balls in the sand.
formed against me shall prosper. Oh, it won't work.
No weapon
Formed against me. Give me that ad lib again.
No weapon.
One more time.
No weapon.
One more time.
No weapon.
Bitch. Who the fuck y'all hoes think?
Okay, the facts are back.
So who the fuck y'all hoes think it was, bitch, or what time of day it was? Okay.
You gotta understand that this is a community-based project. We're not getting any funding from the government. I seen bitches out there talking about, wait till Trump hears about this. Trump can suck my dick.
No weapon. Can y'all hear me now? No weapon. T.S. Madison, Mama Madison, can you do it one more time? Formed against me shall prosper. Oh,
It won't work.
what?
No weapon.
Can y'all hear a nigga now?
Formed against me.
Can y'all hear a nigga now? I need to know, can y'all hear a nigga now?
Give me that ad lib again.
No weapon.
Come on, Mother Madison. Do it again.
One more time.
No weapon.
Uh-huh.
One more
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
No weapon.
Well,
Bitch.
bitch.
Who the fuck y'all hoes think?
Okay, the facts are back.
The
So who
fags
the
are
fuck
back.
y'all hoes think it was, bitch, or what time of day it was? Okay.
You gotta understand that this is a community-based.
Girl, you thought I was worried, bitch? Let me tell you something, girl. When you... All things are working for my good, bitch. I know that. I admit that. I can say that. And leave it to a black trans woman to speak the truth that y'all don't want to hear. That's why a lot of y'all mad and y'all pissed off and y'all upset, is because y'all believe that book should be able to stop people like me and people like T.S. Madison from rising and living their best life. Because if they were to do that, then it shows how weak and fragile your faith is. That's the problem. Bitch, if you really walking in what you think you know, then why are you threatened by somebody else who happens to walk their life differently? And it's not their fault that they're getting more than you. They just love themselves. The way that Christ wants us to love ourselves, but organized religion has remixed it, really perverted it, since we're using the word pervert. And indoctrinated all of us to deny the one thing and the one place that God was in the entire time, which is us. So now that y'all can hear me and shit, we is back in this bitch. We is back, okay? Matter of fact, let me take my ring off because I don't want that shit banging on it. But shit, maybe I need to hold my shit like this. We gonna be like this. We gonna be ghetto hood. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Damn it, can you hear me? Now, let's get into the conversation. Again, we're going to be using the content created by the name of Believe It or Not. And again, shout out to them. Okay, shout out to a cis white man. I don't know their sexual orientation, and neither is it my business. But you know, we let people know shit nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Just so motherfuckers can know and be cool and shit. But shout out to him for being able to produce content that is objective. That is objective, and no shade, a little petty, because at this point, some of y'all need to have a little bit of pettiness thrown at y'all, because y'all playing in people's face. And one thing that he does as far as his channel is he is what I would personally consider a deconstructionist. This is somebody who is deconstructing organized religion. This is somebody who is observant of organized religion. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to show you the facts. We're not going to talk about something that's in a book 2,000 plus years ago that we cannot bring up right now in this day as tangible. but the actual tangible manifestations and realities that happen to innocent people because of this particular type of ideology and used in the wrong way. Because I do believe that Christianity, if it was to get back into its roots in reference to being about the people and being about community and not letting capitalistic greedy motherfuckers come inside of y'all institutions and pimp it out into a hospital which never heals but just gives you shit to deal with shit, and that shit adds more side effects on top of the shit you got. So at this damn point I might as well just stay with what the hell I had. Girl, we gonna get into it. But before we get into it, we got King Harold in the motherfucking building. And yes, you've been talking this whole time and we didn't hear anything you said. That's probably because the universe was like, nah, nigga, you being too nice coming into this situation. You gotta come in hot. So maybe the universe said, hold on one second, bitch, remix this. Just because that's how you start does not mean that's how your ass gonna finish. Okay, and I'm glad that y'all can hear me. We got Twan in the building. Twan. Please make sure y'all hit that like button. We are at 860 subscribers, okay? We are on the road to 1K, and it's all happening because of you guys. So by you liking, by y'all liking the content, by y'all sharing the content, by y'all commenting, whether it's the live chat or whether it's the comments and the replay, whatever the case may be, y'all help to get the BubzDaGawd energy out there so that we can start having more broader, contextual, and nuanced conversations. Y'all also contribute to the Bubzverse. I appreciate y'all fucking with me in the Bubzverse. I really, really do. You guys are amazing. We are on the road to 1K. And again, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I do. I thank you. But anyway, let me put this down, girl. And let's get into the conversation. Okay? Drag queens versus pastors. And this is what I was saying earlier. Since the analogy against queer people, or the mindset, shall I say, about queer people is that the drag queens and the trans community are working hand in hand, girl. The trans people hide in the bathroom like goddamn scary ass incubuses and succubuses, bitch, waiting to sink their teeth, their fangs into your children, to your wife, hell, maybe even you, and suck all of the heterosexuality out of you and feed on it, because that's the sustenance that the queer community, according to them, needs in order to thrive, and therefore will inject the queer shit into you, i.e. the gay agenda. Meanwhile, the drag queens, let them tell it again, are teaching the children at school how to be sexual deviants. So by the time they're 6 years old, girl, they will be able to do all the shit that they've seen and all the pornography that their parents watch in secret, as if though God ain't watching them. So if that is what y'all are saying, okay, well, let that be the case then. Prove that. And y'all have failed horribly at proving that. But we not gonna fail on today, because I don't give a fuck what y'all say about the queer community. We are a minority. We will always be the minority, and we ain't got no motherfucking problem with that. We're not trying to be the majority. We're not trying to be in the head seat, because we can see a lot of heterosexual people are struggling in the front seat, in the driver's seat. All we want is our slice of this existence, especially if it's not objectively harming us or anybody the fuck else. That's all we want. But since we're going to play this game, okay, well, let's prove and see what the hell been going on in the church. Because like I said, the queer community is a minority, which means we could never be on the level of shit that heterosexual people can be on, including abuse. Let's get into it.
Hey everybody, just a little content warning before we get started to talk about things that pastors do. If you know what I mean, awful things that some pastors do. So just be aware of that as you watch this one. It's not an easy trip. There's a long history of men dressing up as women for entertainment. In ancient Greece, women were seen as inferior to men. So Plato was basically the Andrew Tate of his day. So when people started doing theater, it seemed inappropriate for women to be on stage, so men would play the role of women. When Shakespeare was putting on his plays, women were also banned from the stage. I've heard a couple different explanations for this. One is that the stage was usually associated with the church and with religion, so allowing a woman on stage was seen as blasphemy. I was also heard that many people saw the theater as scandalous and immoral, and that women especially should not partake in something so scandalous and immoral. Either way, this meant that men would have to play the roles of women. Drag was a very popular mainstay in vaudeville, and during World War II, many soldiers put on drag shows to entertain their friends. And the man dressed as a woman theme has been a mainstay in Hollywood.
Hallelujah!
Yes.
Hallelujah!
Yes.
Hallelujah!
Oh, this is so fabulous. Ain't nothing like getting together with family and having a good meal.
It's not just a bag. It's Prada.
My first day as a woman, I'm getting hot flashes.
But you don't understand, Osgood. I'm a man. Well, nobody's perfect.
Girl, all those motherfucking examples that we done seen, girl, how many motherfucking niggas right now that love Christianity, love Robin Williams, love Miss Doubtfire? That's a classic. How many people in the black church love Tyler Perry shit? A classic before y'all start calling him gay. See, and then when a nigga went off and got married and tried to have kids and have his own little thing, y'all don't even believe him, girl. He tried to play Alex Cross, girl, and you was like, girl, stay with the cross that you know, girl. The rivers and the lakes that you're used to, the cross-dressing. Stick to that. As if though your ass is straight. That's what the people were thinking. Big Mama's house. The Nutty Professors, girl, the Clumps in them. Hercules, every black person know that shit. But see, what I need for people to understand is that the reason why those people don't mind queerness in that capacity with Martin Lawrence, with the Wayans brothers and White Chicks, which again is one of me and my sister's favorite movies that we like collectively. Funny as fuck. Fucking Tyler Perry, all these things, it was because it was supposed to be something funny. It was supposed to be something to laugh at. It was supposed to be something to ridicule in a communal fucking way. So of course they're going to accept it in that context. But when it starts to become a little too real, when it starts to come a little too close and too personal to you and proximity to you, now all of a sudden it's a problem and it's a fucking issue. But yet transness and drag queens is something that is new, that's infecting the children. But as we can see in this motherfucking movie called Some Like It Hot, this older ass movie, it's been here. And y'all still struggling with it? And y'all still think it's evil? It's evil because y'all don't understand, or it's evil because a part of you deep down inside wants to understand or does understand but cannot stand the motherfucking rain. Yeah, some of you motherfuckers can't stand the rain, but some motherfuckers say they want to go outside in the rain. At least they crying outside, girl. Harold says, Some Like It Hot. It was from the 40s or 50s, and there were cross-dressing back then, but I thought the Christians said that didn't exist back in the day. I mean, we just got a history lesson in the beginning about how, you know, after the war, girl, I forgot which World War it was or whatever, girl, the individuals was doing drag shows and shit, having fun with they bros and shit. Tu Wong Fu before Tu Wong Fu was fooing. And now we here. But anyway, continue.
And in the last 10 years, drag performers have started to read to kids in libraries.
Right.
Author Michelle T. first created Drag Queen Story Hour in San Francisco in 2015. Its goal, to inspire a love of reading while teaching deeper lessons on diversity, self-love, and appreciation of others.
Correct.
Everyone is different and everyone is not bad, said Scooter, who is a turtle. Different is special.
Yet despite the very long history of people of all ages enjoying watching men in women's clothing, recently some people have decided that drag performers reading to children is the line that they never should have crossed.
Drag queens are reading stories to children in public libraries, thereby normalizing this behavior.
Oh, the humanity
of men dressing up in high heels, a wig, a bra, and copious amounts of makeup. Whatever happened to puppet shows and craft day at the library?
I don't think these have replaced other library events. They aren't only doing drag in libraries. There's other things parents can take their kids to.
Yes.
And nobody is forced to go to these events. These are volunteer things. You can take your kids or you cannot take your kids. Aren't these the same people who want school choice?
Now.
Oh, come on now. Yes, aren't these the people that want school choice? Absolutely. And like I said before, y'all have no problem with any of the Disney princesses and coming to read to your children. Y'all don't have any problems when Barney wants to come read to your children, or Big Bird wants to come read to your children, or some fanciful creation that is popular with the kids now. Baby Shark want to read to your damn kids. All that type. You have no problem with that. That's cool. That's fine. That's fine. Bring them in. But as soon as the drag queens come in, but see, again, y'all sexualize it. The children, since the children are innocent and pure, and they have a greater level of discernment than a lot of us do in reference to the energetic aspect, we lose the emotional or energetic aspect as we get older. But you've literally had children sit down and talk to drag queens, and guess what? Nothing happened. But in the minds of the adults, because again, we're all hypersexualized, oversexualized from a young age all the way up. In their minds, they automatically go to the sex act. But you gotta actually prove that the sex act is happening in order for it to be called in that moment. It's what you believe it to be, and you can't prove that. But again, when you have this book, this white, right-wing evangelical book, girl, and you can transmute it. And again, like they said on the live last night we was listening to, well, why does the church, why do we sit up there and make certain sins the cardinal sin? Sin is sin, right? Sin is a sin is a sin is a sin is a sin. Okay then, well, y'all don't be taking that seriously. That's why I say, if y'all gonna talk about queer people, talk about everybody in the book. Make sure everybody in the book understands the assignment. Because like I said, if gays and drag queens can't read to children, can't no motherfucker that's overweight or obese read to children too. We don't want you reading to our children and all of a sudden you start passing on that spirit of high cholesterol, of diabetes, of motherfucking hypertension, bitch, of clogged arteries, of watery ass legs, girl, of swollen ass cankles and feet, bitch, and 3 necks and 2 big backs. We don't want you doing that. Harold said, just like queer people been here, but it was kept in the closet and not triggering everybody. He also says, what's the harm in reading children's stories? What the hell-y? And let's keep it 100. Y'all are projecting y'all own insecurities onto them kids. It's not about them, it's about y'all. Thank you. And let's continue to hear what the rest of these individuals, like Michael Brown, the individual that told gay people that you only have 1 or 2 choices. You can pretend like you like pussy, or go get you a damn a gas station version of a honey pack, or some blue chews, or some horny goat weed or something. Pop you a blue chew, pop you an extends or something, and you better think about that man in the deep dark recesses of your mind as you fucking your wife and giving your wife a child, so you can pretend to be straight with your desires literally haunting you. Or you can say that you're gay, that's fine, but you're gonna have to be celibate for the rest of your life, which means you will never know or understand intimacy. And the only intimacy that you're going to be able to understand is the intimacy of Christ, that these individuals struggle to show people what that actually is. Let's continue. Come on, Michael Brown.
Well, now we're supposed to accept drag queens. Now this is another step towards tolerance. How far will things go? You know, I've told you for years that LGBT activists will overplay their hand, that those who were bullied will become the bullies.
Don't worry, if you're wondering, like I was, how reading to kids about equality and inclusion is somehow bullying, he will not clarify.
A meme going around recently, and it's like, why don't they ever want to dance at nursing homes? Why don't they ever want to like read books to sick people in the hospital? Why is it only kids? Why is it only children's library sections? Why is it only kindergarten classes that they want to go in their tight leotards and their fishnet tights and their high heels and their fake boobs and their bra sticking out? Like, why is it only children that they want to interact with while they're dressed up as that? If you don't think there's something wrong with this, and there is something wrong with you.
And let's continue that ideology, Miss Becky. Let me go ahead and get full screen on your ass. Let me grab the mic, girl. Let me go ahead and give it to you, girl. You say, why not? Why are they not doing this at nursing homes, at hospitals, at other places where people will also need energy? Because in those spaces, they're getting close to the fucking end. Girl, what is going on with the music? Oh, that's why. That's why. Okay, that's why. Because I changed the scene. My bad, y'all. I'm still learning how to do the scene stuff. Excuse me. But why aren't these individuals going into these places and doing that? Well, you're going to hear individuals say that there are people who do that. But since we're asking that question, and again, I'll play the game. Okay, cool. Let's also talk about the Christians as well, just so we're clear. Where are the Christians that are going into the hospitals and that are sitting with people and actually healing them? Where are the people that are going to the nursing homes and are using miraculous power to be able to heal those individuals? Where is the church at when it comes to giving to the community when the community needs it the most? Where is that at? But you have drag queens that do community stuff. I mean, I just shared a trans woman. Again, I'm going to say drag and trans because y'all conflate it, and I'm going to help y'all with that as well. But you had T.S. Madison, Mother Maddie, say that with her starter house for trans women, that it is not supplemented by the fucking government, that it's a community-based thing. So there are queer people that are doing community-based things. There are queer people that do minister or uplift and encourage in spaces such as hospice or any sort of area where there is a terminal illness and the end is inevitable. Like, for example, what about those individuals who had HIV and AIDS during the 80s? Where were the Christians at, sitting with them and loving on them as they transition? But you know what also happened is that after those people died, especially at that time, there were funeral homes that did not want to embalm their body, prepare their body for their families because they had HIV and AIDS, and that's nasty. I don't want nothing to do with that. And you're always asking, well, why is it the kids? Why are they always around the children? Because the adults already fucked up in their head about what they think about queerness. Or they're afraid to acknowledge certain things of queerness that may be in their own life. But children, at least children can learn at a young age that there are people in the world who are different than you. There are a few of you or a small percentage of you that will feel like them. Not everybody's going to feel like them. But even if somebody else is different from you, so the fuck what? Who fucking cares? As long as they're, again, not harming themselves or harming you, what is the issue? What is the issue and what is the problem? I don't understand this. But just like Hero said, y'all projecting y'all own insecurities onto the kids. It's not about them, nor was it ever about them. It was about y'all. And Queen Stevie said it so beautifully last night on the live, and I've been saying it too. What you resist will always persist. So with that being said, I think people need to start walking in the realm of love, because love may end up being a better blessing than whatever blessing you thought hate would be able to do or manifest. What's going on, boy crazy? What's going on? But anyway, y'all, let's go back to the video.
Because they do read and perform to the sick and the unhoused and the elderly. And drag shows are primarily adult only. It's just that sometimes they read to kids, and that's what people get angry about. So that's what gets in the news. The ironic thing is that with all the anger towards drag performers who want to read to kids to encourage kids to love reading and to love people and to accept people, they miss the people who are actually hurting kids. The ones right in their own churches.
What's going on, King Deshaun? Make sure y'all support Believe It or Not. The link for it is down below. And before we go forward into it, Deshaun says they're trying to demonize my TikTok, or demonetize. I said demonize. Demonetize my TikTok. They're trying to keep me quiet from telling the truth about what's going on. Keep telling the truth, man. That's why I say, like, it's gonna have to be multiple platforms. We need multiple platforms. YouTube, Rumble. I low-key want to see what the hell is going on the right-wing apps, and definitely go over there and see if I can generate some conversation over there, because I think, again, what's going to save us, or better yet, give us a better chance for us to save ourselves, shall I say, is that we have to come together and work through this shit. And a lot of people don't have the wherewithal, and I'm sorry, I realize that you can't help everybody. I'm only going to help the individuals that want to be helped. Girl, when the shit come the fuck out, bitch, and you got to deal with it in the moment, deal with it in the moment. Deshaun also says, and it's not even in their own churches. It should be in schools. It could be your babysitters. They took my video out twice. Yeah, they're starting to censor stuff, but I mean, don't stop using your voice. Keep speaking the truth, because there are people who are going to listen to it. Okay? But let's continue.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for liking and subscribing and commenting and all the other awesome stuff you do, because of course you're awesome. You're like the best of all of them. I really appreciate you. Thank you. So like I said, people are very angry about Drag Story Hour.
It's a relatively new phenomenon catching on in libraries and reading programs nationwide. Drag queens reading to kids during story hours. It's popular in some circles and strongly opposed in others.
I'm appalled. It's an abomination. Why are children being exposed to adult behavior?
Reading is an adult behavior?
Want it to be shut down all over the country. Why? This is a perverse, destructive program pushing lies.
I guess they do read fiction sometimes, so do they see that as a lie?
Oh, you lucky I can't use this motherfucking shit. This damn soundboard was acting up, because I was about to put on that motherfucking see mommy, yeah. Girl, mommy, yeah. See mommy, yeah. Girl, it's this shit is hilarious. This is hilarious. Hilarium. This is hilarious to me. This nigga said, well, they do believe in fiction, so that's what I mean. Like, girl, y'all can believe what's in. I don't know if this is a petty ass, childish ass response to trans people and queer people who know who they are, but yet you're believing who you are off of a book, as opposed to queer people who are trying to find their own flow. And there are also queer people who, yes, they do emulate heterosexual people. They do emulate other people, but you still have to find your true essence, your core, who you are. And the only way you're going to find that out is through the realm of self-love. And I think that y'all don't want to do that. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine, but don't stop the children from learning how to love themselves. But anyway, let's go back to how a fictional book is more realistic than a trans person's experience, and a drag person's experience, and a queer person's experience. Let's go back to that.
I love fiction books. Do you?
No, I don't.
They're not real. I like things that are real.
Why? I don't know what they think the drag queens are gonna do. Like, they're gonna wear wigs and dresses and read stories. Big deal.
Exactly. It's bright colors and teaching kids acceptance, and people are so angry. Obviously, this isn't about a man dressing as a woman. People don't actually care about that. This is about a gay man dressing as a woman. This is about the message of inclusivity.
On one side of the street, LGBTQ allies, and on the other, anti-drag protesters, including the Proud Boys, a far-right extremist group.
Because white supremacy and hetero/cis supremacy has always gone hand in hand. Remember that trans people were among the first people targeted by the Nazi Party in Germany.
Hold on. Did y'all hear what he just said? Before the Nazi regime became what the fuck it was, girl, it started to attack the trans community first. So again, this is something new. Boy Crazy says, at least the drag queens are reading to the kids. And what are y'all doing to the kids? They are giving service. And it's nothing wrong with that. Well, don't worry. We're going to see what they are doing to the children. We're going to see what the people who use the Bible against the queer community, girl, and say we doing this shit, what they're actually doing. Because again, like Harold said, girl, this is all about projection. So go ahead and project, bitch. Y'all projectile vomiting, bitch, like the bitch from The Exorcist.
Street in Jamaica Plain Saturday, self-proclaimed neo-Nazis protesting a drag queen story hour at the Loring Greeno house.
It was a powerful example of the type of hate incidents that are spreading rapidly across our country.
While residents who spoke at the meeting said the protesters belonged to a white supremacist group, Taunton police would not confirm or specify what group, if any, the masked men belonged to.
Yeah, that makes sense. White supremacists protect their own.
I just don't want somebody who is a transgender teaching our kids about whatever they're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not even going to bother finding out what they're talking about. I'm just going to be angry about it.
I didn't feel safe because one of them was wearing a shirt with an AK-47 on it, and it said, kill your local.
Panda Dulce eventually walked to a back room to avoid direct confrontation and hoped it would de-escalate the situation.
So again, people in bright colors teaching about inclusivity and acceptance is bad, but yelling slurs, swear words, and threats and terrifying children is perfectly fine.
So this man dressed as a woman, a drag queen.
So this man, who has the F slur for gay people, spelled out with the Facebook logo, the Amazon logo, and the Google logo on his shirt, thinks he is the moral authority here.
They were inviting children to come to this church and do story time with a drag queen for a bunch of children to indoctrinate children into the LGBT HIV lifestyle.
Oh.
Get it? Because that disease killed a bunch of people while the government did nothing? Great joke.
Grooming children for sexual exploitation and molesting in the future. It's disgusting what's happening in our country.
They keep going back to this word grooming, and I want to dive into that further, which I will do in a little bit.
I love children. I've worked with them for 30 years, and I don't want them to be perverted, and I don't want them to be destroyed.
It's an girl. I have never seen white privilege girl, Karen energy girl. She was so brimming with the shit. She was shaking, girl. I don't want them to be perverted. Girl, unfortunately, if you look at the unaliving rate around children who are queer, girl, who are actually queer, girl, unfortunately, there are going to be some of them who are not going to be able to live long enough. Boy Crazy said first it's drag queens and now it's trans people. Yeah, conflation. That's why I'm going to conflate this shit too. I'm going to respond to y'all. I'm going to reach down to help y'all up. That's what I'm going to do.
Abomination to God for a man to dress up as a woman or a woman to dress up as a man. And that might seem harsh to some people, but that's what our faith teaches.
Yeah, in Deuteronomy, how do we tell when we're under the old covenant and when we are under the new covenant? If I say, hey, you can't wear mixed fibers or sit where a menstruating woman has sat, I'm told that that's just the old covenant and we're under a new covenant. But as soon as they want to call people that they don't like an abomination, we're still following the old covenant? If you search for Drag Story Hour arrest, most of the videos that you're gonna find are gonna be things like this.
Police say things grew hostile. 3 men were arrested. 1 neo-Nazi and 1 counter-protester were arrested after fighting each other. Police say they had to break up that fight.
County man is under arrest accused of assaulting a drag queen at a library. 28-year-old Scott Miller is accused of pushing the victim and disrupting the drag queen storytime event. This is the Severno Park Community Library.
There's story after story of people assaulting drag queens or other protesters or damaging property. But you will also see this one.
News, we have just confirmed that a registered child sex offender has been reading to children at a Houston public library as part of its Drag Queen Story Hour.
This was brought to our attention by a group who's been trying to put an end to the program. A media spokesperson for the library confirms one of those drag queens, Tatiana Malanina, is really Alberto Garza, a child sex offender. In 2008, he was convicted of assaulting an 8-year-old boy.
But then the library revealed this man, Albert Garza, a registered sex offender, was among those participating. He served time for aggravated sexual assault of an 8-year-old in 2008.
We are given a list of names by the group that we get our readers from, and his name was not on the list, so we could not do a background check.
The system admitted on Friday it did not conduct a background check on Garza as policy dictates. We've learned that part of the issue was that Garza listed his name as Nikki Salazar when volunteering and did not provide a birth date or social security number. It slipped through the cracks, and he read to children 3 times. And now if a name is not on a list and can't be checked, the volunteer won't read.
We do background checks, and we do not allow people who have criminal backgrounds to read to our children.
This man should not have been around children.
Correct.
The library messed up here, and they should have done a more thorough background check. But he was also never left alone with a child. The parents were there the entire time, and he was removed without any incident happening within story hour. Again, should not have been there in the first place. Correct. But despite the fact that nothing happened, this story has been milked by so many people.
Girl, milked in such a way, girl, you would think the motherfuckers gay, girl. Girl, the way they milking that shit, girl, they milking this shit like this, bitch. They just turn to a whole demon on the shit. Got the motherfucker over there sitting like this. Shit. Oh, girl. Shit. And if y'all milking dick like that, I may have to come to church real quick. Just one time. I'm glad to be in the service one more time. Oh, didn't have to let me
over and
live.
over again.
Well, we learned that at least one story hour presenter was a convicted sex offender. That was in Houston.
Was this an example of political correctness run amok, or was it just a simple mistake? One wonders if perhaps the politically correct culture makes it such that when a drag queen wants to come spend time with children, it is considered offensive even to look into this person's history and see if he's a child.
How you doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a Wisconsin children's court judge and also the former president of the Drag Queen Story Hour Foundation. Now, just to pause for a moment, I had no idea that existed, Drag Queen Story Hour Foundation.
Huh, me neither. That's probably because it doesn't.
But apparently it does, and this guy was a former president.
He wasn't.
Now, he has been arrested on 7 counts of child. I'm trying to be careful here. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but basically he had illicit pictures of children on his cell phone, laptop, wherever he had them. He's been arrested on 7 counts of that. Now, are you surprised that this has happened to a guy like this, who was a former president of the Drag Queen Story Hour Foundation? Are you surprised? I'm not surprised, not in the least bit. I've done stories about guys like this, guys that have been participating in the Drag Queen story time. And if you don't know what that is, basically, you have drag queens, men that are dressed as women, and they go and read books to children. I'm talking about little kids, babies, like goo gaga infants up to about 3, 4, 5 years old, little kids. There was one guy that had already been arrested and locked up for child abuse, for child sexual abuse. So I'm not surprised that this guy is on that same thing. It just kind of makes sense. Like at a certain point, you start to see a pattern. And it's like, oh, okay, I see what's going on.
He's talking about a man who was a judge and also did some work with an LGBTQIA organization at one point. He is a creep. He is a bad guy. He should go to jail. But he hasn't done drag, and he's never read to children at a library, and he has never been the president of the Drag Queen Story Hour.
Wow.
Now let's take this opportunity to look at some...
Wow. This is why they want to try to unalive us. Because they're realizing that their fears about queer people are not real. This is some damn Freddy Krueger shit that's fucking them up in their own mind. This is some talk to me psychosis type of bullshit going on, girl. This is something that they have going on within themselves. But because they're being proven that their fears are just that, fears that cannot be substantiated, at least not in the narrative or the degree that they're applying it to, that because they can't stop queer people from rising without their permission, that makes them feel some type of way. Even to the point to where they would unalive us. Because again, did you remember from the beginning of the video that before the Nazi regime even started, they had to start somewhere. They had to start at the bottom of the totem pole. But what I need y'all to understand is that the bottom of the totem pole I'm talking about is the surface level. But there is some shit that is deep down, the stake that is in the ground. And a lot of people who voted for this man, voted for the orange tangerine to bring forth, not the Trump administration, but the trauma administration. Guess what? You know what? You ain't even got to guess. We gonna get into it. Fight the Evil Robots. My daughter is 2 and her favorite drag queen is Juno Birch. Come on, Fight the Evil Robots. I'm about to say Fight the Evil Reboots. Lord, charge it to my head, not my heart, girls. The weed. Shout out to you. It's been a minute since I've seen you here, so it's good to have you back. And please sound off in this. And one of my favorite drag queens, because I don't really watch drag race and stuff like that, but there is a few drag queens that I do like that are hilarious, and my favorite one is the one on the thumbnail, Bianca Del Rio, because she has a dark sense of humor, and that's also another one of my sides. I have a dark sense of humor, so sometimes that shit do be funny that she be saying. So, you know, but let's continue with the video.
Organizations where more than one person has been arrested.
It's been a tough few weeks for the Catholic Church as allegations of abuse and cover-ups continue to surface from around the world. Here now to comment, the devil.
A sacred trust exploited.
Clergy sexually violating children.
And lives forever changed.
I mean, they took your soul. You know, how are they going to give it back?
And let me clock it real quick. There might be some people who may say, well, if there is priests, you know, abusing children, they're abusing boys, which means that they're gay. Okay. Let's play that game and say that is the case. Well, they were able to do more damage under the guise of faith than they could possibly ever do under the guise of reading to children. Because when I'm in control of your destiny and telling you that I'm the only one that stands between you as the intercessor for your blessing and your deliverance and your healing comes through me, because I am the leader and the bishop and I'm the pastor and I'm the preacher and I'm the reverend, I'm all these people. Well, guess what then? Cool. All right. No wonder there's a lot of people that are abusers in there, because I have control of your life. Because I'm the one that can say that I can see the guy in a way that you can't. So of course, there are going to be some people who would love to get in those positions of power, because now that I got you in the palm of my hand, in order for the Lord to bless you, you're going to have to give me a little pussy. In order for the Lord to bless you, you got to give me a little ass. You got to give me a little dick. And once we move through this bullshit, then we can start having the real ass conversations, like why there are people that are narcissistic, striving to be in positions of power. And one way you can tell that they're not designed to be in positions of power is because they would do anything to get it, even if that means destroying other people. Because to be honest, the individuals who really are supposed to be in positions of power are those who really don't want it, because they understand the weight and the responsibility of that. And I would rather have somebody who say they don't want it than somebody who is saying that they really do want it but can't prove that. Because when you don't want it, that means in a sense that there are insecurities within you, and I'd rather somebody talk about their insecurities so that they can work on making it better, as opposed to somebody who is striving for power to cover up their insecurities as if though they're perfect. And shout out, okay, to Believe It or Not for doing his due deals and setting this up, because the beginning part was dealing with the societal issue is with trans people and drag people, and he showed how idiotic these people are and ignorant these people are and stupid these people are. And for the words idiotic and stupid, that's for those who are willfully ignorant. They're the ones that are stupid. We just saw what they said, what they believed, but yet could not prove it at all. Or if they did, it was small, isolated cases, which even to me and the person who created this content, again, Believe It or Not, we both agree that those individuals should not be around children. They should not be in positions of power, because it doesn't matter if you're queer or if you're straight. If you don't work within your own shit inside of yourself, you will fuck up not just your life, but everybody else's life. That's why self-love is important. But since we're playing the societal game and we gotta meet people where they're at, let's spend the rest of this time looking at what heterosexual people do. Or shall I say, people who are in positions of faith who speak out against queer people. Projection is a bitch. We got Queen Stevie in the building. Goddamn it, that's a sexy left. Thank you, Queen Stevie. I like a real fucking pothead. I got this big ass oversized pink hoodie thing on, girl, making me look like I'm bigger than what I really am. But I don't give a damn, girl. Somebody gonna love me whether I got nothing on or something big on, okay? Praise him. Anyway, let's continue.
These are the stories of those caught in the sex abuse crisis of the Catholic Church.
Where are those protests on Sunday morning? Where's that fervor on a Sunday morning? But Trevor, Catholics aren't really Christians, so it's irrelevant to me. Okay, and you're not a drag queen, and you're mad about them.
I love when white people clap back like this. I love when white people clap back like this. I love when white people clap back like this, especially when it's warranted. And black people, there's gonna be some white people we gonna have to invite to the cookout, because we gotta also remember our history too. As much as we were going through the Underground Railroad, girl, there were white people who had position, who had power, who had resources, who used their power and their resources to help those who did not. So whenever I see a white person out here doing what needs to be done to use their privilege in spaces where people of color and queer people are not going to be in, there's only one letter or one team that I'm really about, and that one team is Team Humanity. And Team Humanity is diverse and colorful as fuck. And for some of you motherfuckers that can't comprehend that, that's an issue within yourself that you need to go sit down and go talk to a damn therapist about, or go heal out, or cry out or some shit.
And yes, they are Christians, but let's look at some non-Catholic people.
A nearly 300-page report investigating sexual abuse charges in the Southern Baptist Convention showed that survivors' allegations were repeatedly ignored by SBC's executive committee. According to the Associated Press, the 7-month investigation by independent firm Guidepost Solutions and contracted by the new executive committee of SBC found several senior executive committee leaders of America's largest Protestant denomination, quote, stonewalled and denigrated survivors of clergy sex abuse over almost 2 decades while seeking to protect their own reputations, even if it meant that convicted molesters continued in ministry with no notice or warning to their current church or congregation.
Girl. Girl, if we just look at this objectively. Again. Let's role play here. Let's role play uncomfortably, because this is even uncomfortable for me. But let's just pretend here that we are in the mindset of somebody that is trying to abuse children. Let's say that is the goal. Let's say that is the purpose. And let's say I'm trying to get as close as I possibly can. What do you think would be easier for the person who is a abuser of children to actually get into place with? Would it be the drag queen reading to the children? Because again, there's already the stigma around the drag queen. So wouldn't that make it harder for the person who is an abuser to be around children, especially if society believes through religion that that is the case? Unless this individual is a person that like playing video games on the most hardest difficulty and wants to apply that in real life. Or would it be easier for an abuser of children, or just a person who just want to abuse, to end up getting into a position of power at a church? Because yes, there are gay clubs, girl, but again, we can never compare to y'all, and especially in the black community. When it comes down to the neighborhood and shit, there are more churches in the black community than there are gay clubs. There are more churches in America than there are gay clubs. So there are more opportunities to abuse human beings than you could ever do in the queer space. And it's funny how y'all talk about the abuse of human beings, of children and of women, but when there is domestic abuse between 2 men, y'all just tell the 2 men, well, y'all both 2 niggas duke it out. So, and yes, let's go back to this woman, girl, because I feel like her motherfucking ass, girl, I don't want the children to be perverted. I've been doing it for 30 years, girl. Meanwhile, the pastor is over here digging in to all types of holes, of all types of ages, girl. And again, because he is a value to the system, girl, they gonna find a way to keep his ass around.
So I assume this woman immediately started making speeches in front of Baptist churches?
I love children. I've worked with them for 30 years, and I don't want them to be perverted, and I don't want them to be destroyed.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
Or maybe it's not actually about protecting children. Maybe it's about othering. About channeling their anger at a specific target. It's not that they're angry that they don't have health care or can't afford groceries. They're angry that a drag queen is trying to get access to their children. But the problem is, maybe we should be angry.
And no shade, The Righteous Gemstones is funny as hell. If y'all have never seen that show, girl, this is what the fuck Christianity about to turn into, girl. It's about to turn into a fucking spectacle of people getting onto a pulpit and stage and literally acting, and you're paying them. Girl, you're not ready. Never mind. Let me shut up, girl. You're not ready.
Because there are people trying to get access to your children. The problem is they aren't reading to them in libraries. They're hanging out with them in the youth room. A few years ago, I did a video about cool youth pastors, and I showed a clip of this guy, Tim Summers.
As you can tell, I am not Pastor Stephen. I'm a little taller. If we haven't had the privilege of meeting, my name is Tim Summers, and I get the honor and privilege of being the youth pastor here at Elevation.
That's right, Elevation Church, the home of yelling a point that makes no sense so people will applaud Stephen Furtick.
I put wings on your wagons. My wagons have wings, y'all. I'm gonna get there because he's with me. My wagons have wings.
But do you also have weed? Because that would make me get on the wagon.
Tim Summers is the guy I used an example of when I was talking about those youth pastors who always feel the need to talk about how hot their wives are.
And that's my beautiful family. My gorgeous wife, that's my queen. She got me buzzing.
Oh! Didn't we hear yesterday in the live in part 1, girl, of the ex-gays talking about how the gays make everything so sexual, and especially sexual and in the house of God? Meanwhile, you have individuals who are in the church who are using lingo of the world, girl, to make them relevant in church. But it's okay for y'all to do that. Again, I have heard plenty of times at church when my pastor or when a guest pastor would talk about their wife, it was always, oh, she's beautiful and she's beautiful. But because we are men and we are niggas, and again, we hypersexualized, we gotta throw some sexual shit in there. But see, it's okay for the pastor and them to do it because, again, they're in positions of power, which means that how dare you go against the pastor? He's the only one that can hear. And if you are in your church and been going to your church for 20 plus years and the pastor is the only one that can hear God, meanwhile you can't, baby, run. Run. Run like T.S. Madison did when she did that run and, oh, no.
Fortunately, she's not the only thing that got him buzzing.
A youth pastor at Elevation Church is no longer on staff. That removal comes amid allegations of misconduct at a church in Texas over a decade ago. A spokesperson for Elevation confirmed that Tim Summers was no longer on the church's staff at the time. The church says once it learned of these allegations, it immediately contacted law enforcement in Texas. No charges have been filed.
Recently, the student pastor at the church he was at in Texas was accused of the same thing around that same time. And it is through this investigation of this alleged crime that more people came forward and someone came forward with an accusation. But this isn't an isolated incident.
Have a timeline in the sexual assault allegations against a former Lubbock youth pastor. 41-year-old Luke Cunningham is accused of sexually assaulting a child in January 2016. The same year, he started a job as a student pastor at Lubbock's Turning Point Community Church. He's accused of sexually assaulting that same child again in October 2018. He's also accused of sexually assaulting another child in January of 2017. We had a mother who found some disturbing content on her son's phone, brought that to our deputies, and we started looking at it and discovered that there was something very wrong with this.
The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office arrested 36-year-old Moses Escato, a local youth pastor, for what he's accused of doing to a 16-year-old.
Rocky Pope at Inspiration Church in Mesquite has known Connor Penny, who also went by Jesse for most of his life. And he says their church community is struggling to reconcile the child sex assault allegations against him. He says Penny was immediately suspended when the church became aware of the allegations. On Tuesday, he was terminated.
We do criminal background checks on all the staff and volunteers on a regular basis. There was nothing in his history related to any of this.
Penny worked as a minister to students at the church since August of 2016, and church leaders say they had not been made aware of any allegations prior to the current investigation.
Investigators say 35-year-old Daniel Mayfield filmed multiple girls in the bathroom at First Baptist Gownsville in Landrum, where he was employed as a youth pastor. So far, they've found 6 victims, some as young as 14 years old. A judge denied his bond last night. Mayfield is charged with 5 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor and 1 count of voyeurism. Arrest warrants say Mayfield set up cameras in the church's bathroom bathroom and recorded the girls changing. Investigators told the judge they are still working to identify more victims and there could be more charges coming.
A youth pastor in Randolph County is accused of sending inappropriate Snapchats to 2 young teens. One of them is a member of his own church. 19-year-old Alexander Roseley faces charges tonight of child solicitation. Police say Roseley admitted to sending the messages. They were sexual in nature and asked the 13 and 15-year-old girls to become friends with benefits.
And it's not just men. I mean, it's mostly men, but it's not just men.
Whiteside is also a former youth minister at Getwell Church in Hernando. It's unknown where the alleged act or acts occurred, but the indictment states it happened between May and November, at a time when Whiteside was in a position of trust or authority over the child.
Also in custody tonight, a youth pastor charged with sexual contact with a child. Shannon Cotuizes is with the Crossing Church of the Nazarene in West Houston. She was booked into the Fort Bend County Jail today and is being held on $25,000 bond.
In Madison, Broadmoor Baptist Church announced allegations that a youth pastor back in the 1980s groomed a 12-year-old girl. The Clarion Ledger reporting an abusive sexual relationship began when the girl was 15 years old.
And there is that word again, grooming. This time used a little more accurately than when people call people simply reading to children about accepting others groomers.
What it is, I think it's a bride. A bride could be a good answer. What? You can't become a groom or get groomed without a bride.
Right. That's not the kind of grooming they're talking about.
A former pastor has been charged. He's accused of grooming a teenager. Macon County deputies arrested Joseph Kroll on Friday. He's accused of having sexually explicit conversations with a 15-year-old. That teenager was a former member of his congregation. Grooming is when a person uses the internet to seduce or entice a child under 17.
No, that's not what grooming is. Grooming is when someone slowly builds trust over time in order to later take advantage of that trust.
Boom. Again, in the context of the question I asked earlier, what do you think would be easier for an abuser to have power in? The queer community as a drag queen reading to children, or as a minister or a pastor? Because we already know who America would choose first as far as what safety looks like. If they had to choose between fuck, whether you want your son to be a gay boy or a thug nigga in the queer community, let's make it bigger. Who would you rather excuse me, girl, I'm over here. Who would you rather leave your children with? A drag queen or a minister, a pastor, a reverend, a person of the people? And see, the one thing I like about what he's doing that unfortunately the queerphobic community, especially the religious ones, are failing to do is you see how he has all these clips consistently about what's going on, the facts. Again, I've been on platforms, I've watched and listened to other red pill platforms on all different types of spaces on YouTube, waiting and asking, not even on YouTube, but even on TikTok and shit, asking them to send me the clips, send me the videos of the drag queens harming the children. Hell, I did a video a year ago where I was at a brand new Pride event or whatever that was like about an hour away from Detroit. And I recorded a video saying, oh wow, the drag queens over there, the children right there, the children ain't being turned out, what's going on? And I had people literally get mad at me and upset at me. I had one person say, well, oh, because you went to one good one. But no, I need for y'all to prove this is happening. And y'all don't. Y'all do not. But again, when we start talking about what's going on in y'all house of worship, and as we find out, it ain't really the worship of God, it's the worship of another God, and that's the dick God that's being worshipped over there. And we realize it ain't just the men, it's the women too. So again, y'all gotta do better when y'all talk about trying to justify y'all fears. Because all you keep doing and proving to the children is that y'all the ones with the issues, y'all the ones with the problems, y'all the ones with the fears. and you projected it onto your children, and you want your children to project it onto other children so they could become adults just like how you were, having this queerphobic ass mindset, realizing that they're cutting themselves off from living a good life because some of your children will be queer. The majority of your children will not, but they will have queer family members, queer friends, queer workers, just queer. You're going to have people in their life who are queer. Judge them by the content of their character and not by who they are attracted to or their fucking identity. Because if we're going to play that fucking game, then we're going to also look at your identity. So for you to sit up here and believe that you are exempt from cross-examination in this bitch, girl, that's called supremacy. And real ass niggas walk in objectivity and not supremacy. Only weak, jelly-backed, baby, toddler-necked ass bitches only operate. Here, let me stop.
Often with minors, often in the form of gifts, compliments, making them feel cool, making them feel heard. Sometimes grooming happens when they're still children and they're taken advantage of when they're still children. And sometimes they wait to swoop in until they turn 18 as a way to avoid the legal consequences. Like how Dennis in Always Sunny explains it.
It's like an IRA. You put the money in, and you wait. And then you make a hefty withdrawal. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's gross.
Jeff Berry, who you can see here avoiding our cameras back in March, minutes after he pled guilty to indecency with a child by contact, was accused of touching a young boy inappropriately back in 1996. Anna says she remembers seeing her ex-husband spend a lot of time with boys who were 30 to 35 years younger than him.
He sometimes would buy them things, extravagant things sometimes. He would promise them, you know, kind of the world.
This grooming tactic is typical for child predators to gain their victims' trust, according to the Regional Victim Crisis Center.
How common is it for somebody to groom the person that they plan on abusing?
It is the #1 tool predators use.
Executive Director Janie Wawerna says it's sad, but common for the predator's loved ones to ignore signs that something is off.
Sometimes you start realizing there were red flags, and for whatever reason, your heart and your brain didn't let you see them.
That's why these people become youth pastors. The church trusts them, the parents trust them, they are seen as beacons of the community. A red flag must be a misunderstanding. This is a good guy. Have you seen him preach? Have you seen how loving he is? And we want to trust people. We want to have a less cynical view of the world. This is from a trailer from a movie called 2025, The World Enslaved by a Virus.
The world as we have known in 2020 does not exist anymore. The virus changed the world, and communism is all over the place. A global world language developed. Meetings are illegal, traveling is illegal, and Christianity is illegal.
I can do the most important thing of my life, to believe.
The movie was made during the pandemic and was about how in 2025, we still wouldn't be allowed to have gatherings because of COVID, and also Christianity would be illegal because of COVID.
Where are these books from? Wouldn't the better question be, when are those books from?
You're just not thinking fourth dimensionally.
Right, I have a real problem with that.
That doesn't matter to me. I think it does. They are from a time when life was different. The time when we could meet our friends, go to restaurants, celebrate whatever and whenever we wanted to.
Wow, moving stuff. But what if I told you that the actor in this scene was also one of the main writers and also one of the directors for the film and is also a youth pastor? What a true Renaissance man. This is his IMDb page with a nice picture of him and his wife. And here's a picture of them on Instagram from their 3-year dating anniversary. And here's one from 3 months later when she turned 18. Yep, I said youth pastor. He started dating her when she was 14 and he was 20.
Hold on, bitch. Hold on. Hold on.
Formed against me
shall prosper. Oh, it won't work. No weapon formed against me. Give me that ad lib again. No weapon. One more time. No weapon. One more time. No weapon.
Girl, I just had to do it one time. Cause I mean, what? Hold on. Let me grab the motherfucking mic, bitch. Full screen me, bitch. Hold on. And my head look big because I got these headphones in. Y'all niggas telling me that y'all are so afraid of the drag queens reading to your children because they gonna do some sexy shit to your children. Homosexual shit to your children. Some fag shit to your child. Meanwhile, there is a youth pastor that was dating a girl that was underage until she turned 18. Now, there might be some people who will say, well, Bubs, the statute of limitation in reference to when you can date is 16 or whatever the case may be. I'm just saying, if y'all gonna play this game as far as keeping things equal across the board, and y'all asking us to do that, y'all have to do the same fucking thing in order for it to fucking work. So the fact that you got all these youth pastors that's out here and is at youth groups doing youth shit with your youth children until it's time for your youth child and that youth pastor to be all alone in they pastor's adult house doing adult shit. And then on top of that, there's a pastor that was dating somebody that was underage while he was 20 motherfucking years old. Okay, Jesus. Okay, Jesus.
And he proposed to her right after she turned 18. And here he is with his child bride. He stole her teen years and then her college years. But this isn't an uncommon thing. I've heard story after story of youth pastors marrying someone in their youth group as soon as they turn 18. And they act like it's a noble and holy thing. Like how this pastor explains it.
Let me tell you something. You have to tell me, oh, she got the wrong end of this stick. You so married above you. I already know that. She is so smart. She is so capable. She loves Jesus. This girl learned how to learn, and now there ain't no limitations to her. When you learn how to learn, whatever life throws you, no problem, we'll overcome it too. And that's what I have seen in this woman. I love her more than I love anyone else in the whole world.
Aw, that's sweet. He's talking about how smart his wife is and how she's way better than him. What could be wrong with that?
What?
And that will never change. And let me tell you, so how in the world did you get her? And here's my only answer. I convinced her to marry me when she was so young she didn't know any better. And see, guys, this is how you do it. I'm just giving you some advice here. This is how you do it.
Gross. I've talked about Matt Chandler before. I've used clips of his many times. He's a pastor at Village Church in Flower Mound, Texas, and head of the Acts 29 network, which is a church planting network. He also uses a lot of hand gestures that have nothing to do with what he's talking about.
You and I, okay. You and I are in a day and age where deconstruction and the turning away from and leaving the faith has become some sort of sexy thing to do. I contend that if you ever experience the grace and mercy of Jesus Christ, actually, that's really impossible to deconstruct from.
That's actually why I left, to be honest, because it's sexy. That's why I upset my family. That's why I left my job that I went to college for. That's why I lost my best friend, because deconstructing just seemed sexy. But Matt Chandler isn't free from controversy.
Sunday service lead pastor.
Hold on, before we go forward. So, it's okay for two ex-gay men to literally say that even if it's consensual between two males, consensual, we're talking about two adults here who are aware, that understand what's going on, that are on an equal playing field, that is still evil and demonic, and that you're taking another man down into the pits of hell. But yet you have men who are grown-ass adults who are dating underage children. Y'all not about to make me smoke up all my damn weed, bitch. Hero said, can we address what this so-called perversion is, though? Why does it look like, well, I mean, what does it look like? Do they think queer people are gonna do drive-bys, essays on kids, then go after their parents after that? You gotta ask them. Okay? Queen Stevie said, it's not the drag queens and the gays. Okay? That's taking away your 401k. It's not the queer community that is taking away your Social Security benefits. It's not the queer community that's taking away your retirement money, taking away your Medicaid. You might want to go back and look in the mirror and look and see who voted for this and who was the problem. And actually, the problem is not the gays or the drag queens. It's more so of a you problem. She also says, and look at the Republican Party. It's always a scandal with any of these elected officials. Get caught messing with someone who is not of age. It's not the drag queens or the gays, especially in the Catholic churches. Let's talk about it again. Not the drag queens and the gays. Let's continue.
Pastor Matt Chandler told the congregation that several months ago he was approached by a woman here at the church. She told him that she was concerned about the correspondence he had with one of her friends on Instagram.
I didn't think I had done anything wrong in that. My wife knew that. Her husband knew that.
Chandler says he immediately told other senior members who had concerns.
And they had some concerns. And those concerns were not that our messaging was romantic or sexual. It was that our conversations were unguarded and unwise. The concerns were really about frequency and familiarity.
In a statement, the church says it hired an independent law firm and found Chandler did not use language appropriate for a pastor, and he did not model a behavior that we expect from him. While the elders believe that this did not rise to the level of disqualification, we do hold elders to a higher standard of behavior. The leave of absence to work on himself was seen as the best course of action.
If I'm honest, I'm just really embarrassed.
The messages were never made public, so we don't know. Maybe it was innocent and just overblown. Maybe he used some swear words and he shouldn't have. Maybe he just messaged too often. Or maybe it was something worse. My guess is that if he had to sit in the penalty box for 3 months, it probably wasn't that innocent. But again, we may never know. And it's probably not the worst controversy any pastor's ever been involved in.
You do that, you go to the box, 2 minutes by yourself, and you feel shame, and then you get free.
But what isn't controversial to most people in the church, for some reason, is the way he met his wife. As shown here in this video that is supposed to be really sweet and nice and talk about their relationship.
This is so fun for me to say now, because people thought I was so crazy, and I knew when I left Colorado I was going to marry Lauren Walker. I met Lauren at a youth camp where she was a student and I was the camp pastor.
And right before I met him was when I felt like Jesus became real to me, and I really understood who he was and what the cross did for me. And I'd noticed Matt, and I thought he was cute, but I was like, I do not want to be The camper that has a crush on the camp speaker.
If you've ever been to a Bible camp, which I have many times, you know that it is all about heightened emotions to get them to fall in love with Jesus, especially on that Friday night cry night. It's purposely crafted to manipulate you emotionally. So it's already sketchy to begin with. To then add an underage girl having a crush on the camp speaker, and that camp speaker either not understanding or not caring that she's in a vulnerable state, and also not an adult. Not walking away and saying, maybe I should date someone my own age, or saying, this isn't right. He decides to go for it.
And then on top of that, y'all sit up here and say that children, they don't know what they want, they stupid, they dumb, they don't know what's going on, they gotta figure things out, their emotions all over the place, they don't know nothing about life. But yet you got this underage girl looking at him and feel like Jesus is standing next to this motherfucker like, this the one. This the one, girl. Ooh, this the one. And then it happened. Girl, this is just simply queerphobia, and I love the fact that there are people out there, like, believe it or not, that are clocking the fuck out of that. Because again, y'all want everybody to, you want to look at everybody else, but don't want to look at yourself in the mirror. And I get it. As an individual who's working through self-love, that means reevaluating yourself. And there are things, even with me, we all gonna have levels of insecurity in our own life, but it's up to us to work out as much of it as possible during this time cycle, this life cycle. And all I'm saying is, if y'all gonna be bad about it, about the queer shit, be bad about it across the motherfucking board. But yet, again, if an individual was a predator, why the fuck would I be able to go to the queer community and be able to, hopefully and maybe, be able to do some shit when I can go ahead and get a greater capacity and a greater pick and a greater choice at the church? Because not everybody gonna go to the queer clubs and the queer spaces, but almost everybody gonna go to church, or the majority is going to go to church, or the majority of the community is going to go to church. So therefore you have a greater chance and a picking.
I can say with all integrity that everything was above board.
With all integrity, is it above board? I think maybe if you have to specify that about your relationship, you already have a problem.
I didn't know how it was going to work because it was, you know, there was an age gap. I was in college, she was in high school. The kind of, what do you do with that? You're the camp pastor, she's the camper.
Had to make sure she got to gym class on time.
But here we are 18 years later, 16 years married, and what I felt compelled leaving that camp actually came to fruition.
Whoa, what the? Why is my girlfriend here? Oh, is she that teacher in the white? No, she's a part-time frozen yogurt chef.
When I was doing my internship at a church in the youth department, a student told me that she had feelings for me. I didn't have to think about the logistics of it, or how to make sure it was above board, because I just said, no, I'm your youth pastor. I wasn't like that youth pastor who handed out these stickers to his kids. Meanwhile, certain people are fighting for children's safety by trying to ban drag performers from reading to children.
House Bill 2186 would ban drag performances in public places or in settings where minors could be present, with consequences of fines and up to a 2-year jail sentence.
We want to make sure that if it's being done in public, that there are some guardrails in place.
While also being okay with the fact that America has a child marriage crisis.
I've heard you talk about parents' rights to raise their kids how they want. In fact, I just double-checked. You voted no on making it illegal for kids to be married to adults at the age of 12 if their parents consented to it. You said actually that should be the law because it's the parents' right and the kids' right to decide what's best for them to be raped by an adult. Okay?
Do you know any kids who have been
With
married
marriage.
at age 12?
That was the law. You voted not to change it.
Do you know any kids who have been married at age 12?
I don't need to.
I do. And guess what? They're still married.
Gentlemen.
Often at the hand.
Girl, y'all about to make me roll up again. And I'm grateful that I'm learning how to roll joints, because I just learned how to roll like at the beginning of this year. So I feel like I'm a qualified pothead now because I know how to roll, but I roll small joints because I try to conserve my shit. And I still got a lot over there. But damn it, I don't want to roll up. I just had my shit over here. And this is why I give motherfuckers the smoke. Are you motherfucking kidding me, bitch? So y'all so worried about the queer people and the children of the children. Meanwhile, the adults in the heterosexual community are fucking the kids. And if you go to church, you might be able to get away with it. You might have to wait a little bit. Or at least publicly act like you wait. But once the clock strikes 12 on, the thing, girl, it's gonna be legs up in the air and no weapon, none. Matter of fact, y'all gonna watch that shit again real quick while I go grab my shit so I can roll the fuck up in this bitch. Go ahead, Queen. T.S. Madison. No weapon
formed against me shall prosper. Oh, it won't work. No weapon formed against me. Give me that ad-lib again. No weapon. One more time. No weapon. One more time. No weapon. Yeah. Formed against me. Give me that ad-lib again. No weapon. One more time. No weapon. One more time. No weapon.
Bitch. Got me fucked up in this bitch. Are you kidding me? Or are you shitting me? Let's hear what Deshaun got to say, because Deshaun be Deshaun and girl when he be upset about this shit. Queen Stevie said, ex-gay movement, conversion therapy, extremely dangerous, and it should be banned altogether, even though it already is. The ex-gay movement needs to be banned, period. Look, if there's a bunch of people that want to beat themselves into penance to feel like they are closer to God, and that's what gets them off, then by all means, do what you gotta do. But don't try to make your story my story, bitch. You don't know my story. Deshaun says, I'm gonna tell you about these ex-gays. They're narcissistic, they're sociopathic, and they wanna lie, and then they wanna have a side dude. Not everyone is doing that, but they're using that to oppress gays. Deshaun further says that everything is all set in motion. You want to know the real reason why they're using media to do this? It's because those people they had a lot of money were exposed. Those people that's behind the Democrats and Republicans, they were so scared out of their minds because of their sexuality. They oppress other gay people by using families to weaponize them and their kids. This is all a program. They also are trying to silence people, and that's the reason why, because those people are actually pretending to be what they're not. They were exposed. Let me see. There is a lot of shit that's going on, and let me tell you what they're talking about. Let's bring in population. But I thought you said you wanted to populate the population or depopulate the population because of food shortage. We can get into that. That's a deeper level of conversation. I feel like we can get into those conversations once we work through the queerphobia and the racism. And I'm talking to the individuals that can, will, and are willing to do so. Those are the individuals that I'm talking about. The rest of you motherfuckers, if y'all want to stay behind because of fear, do your own thing, girl. But when the shit pop off, girl, I hope that y'all got time to get y'all shit together. So let's continue to see more about the individuals who claim to be protecting children, but girl, meanwhile, shit, it seemed like the children are safer with the drag queen, girl, because the drag queen ain't trying to fuck them.
And of evangelicals who don't want their pregnant teens to be unwed.
Pereira's parents pulled her from school because of some mental health issues. Desperate for answers, they turned to a local youth pastor.
He said, you should bring Ashley and Craig to my youth group on Wednesdays, you know, just a new start. And so that's how I met Jason, and that's where my life turned forever.
Great House was like a mentor, so it made sense that when he was strapped for money, the family invited him to move in.
Unfortunately, that took a turn to where our bond and mentorship turned into something that wasn't supposed to happen. And one thing led to another, and I ended up losing my virginity to Jason at 14.
What did your parents think at the time when all this was happening?
And her response was, how was it? You know, her response wasn't, she wasn't angry, she
How
didn't
was it?
try to throw him out.
A year later,
How was it? Not the mama sound like she low-key wanted a piece too? How was it? Bitch, what? Oh my God.
Pereira was pregnant. Her parents insisted the two get married. They did just that, with parental consent. Pereira, now 16, and Great House, 26.
That was it, is that it was my responsibility to make things work since I decided to give my body to somebody, you know, but I was a child.
The marriage lasted no more than a year before Pereira filed for divorce.
I had to emancipate myself so I could get an apartment and go to college and do all these things because I wasn't 18. I was a minor, so I would have ended up in foster care if I had not emancipated myself from my family.
Again, I wish this was an isolated case, but it isn't.
Right now, child marriage is legal in 44 states.
From 2000 to 2018, the number of child marriages per year has steadily dropped from nearly 80,000 to just under 2,500. But during that period, nearly 300,000 children were married in the U.S. 86% of them were girls.
Bitch. Oh, girl, what? Christians, it seems like y'all worried about the wrong thing. It is about protecting the children. But again, it's never been about the children. Because the powers that be, and we'll touch on that for a little bit. The powers that be, girl. That's why they want children in the world. That's why they want all this confusion and shit. Because then they'll be able to manipulate the children. I didn't even know personally that child marriages was happening. Because I don't look at children in that way. But you have adults who are heterosexual and who are Christian who obviously do because they like child marriages. And it's legal in 44 states. Trump, you gonna remove that? You gonna try to destroy that shit? Okay, girl.
And nearly 60,000 of those marriages involved children so young they could have been considered victims of a sex crime.
I don't know the percentage of those who met the person they were forced to marry at a drag story hour versus at a church, but I'm willing to place money on which one is higher.
Started hearing about some sex crimes in our churches. And so they decided to take that and use that against us and claim that all of us are bad.
Maybe you're not all bad, but it's not making you seem safe. It's not making you seem like a good place to send children.
Because this church here and this college here, this preacher messed with this young girl in the church, and so they're saying that the IFB movement is filled with covering up sin and all this. By the way, it does happen. It happens in every denomination, every church, every movement. Anywhere you got people, you're going to have sinners. That's right. Anywhere you got a crowd, you're going to have a few bad people out there. And that's why, preacher, you better have some walls up. You better have some protections up at your church, because that guy's lurking around the hall somewhere.
Or maybe if y'all operated in the fucking power of Christ that compels the evil spirit, you'll be able to help that motherfucker get to a point to where he says, what must I do to be saved? But willingly, not unwillingly or forcefully. And all we saying is that if queers are going to be the topic of conversation on pulpits, then we need to make sure that every church in every fucking town of every city of every state within these here United States, girl, is preaching the same message, the same book, same verse. Go down the list of all the sins. Everybody come to church and wait until your turn comes so that at least everybody in the house can say ouch. But y'all don't want that. That'll be too much like right.
My point, though, was there's something worse than that. And that's the guy walking around your halls and classrooms trying to sway people that the King James Bible is not the Word of God. He's 10,000 times worse than any predator that comes to your church.
Is that worse? Because if I had a child and I had a choice between sending them to a place that doesn't believe that the King James Version of the Bible is God's word, or a place that is full of sex offenders, I'm going to go with the one that doesn't believe that the King James Version is the word of God. But different pastors have different responses to the question, why do pastors keep failing?
Oh, we've got a bit of a scoop here. We've got Dr. Stephen Lawson is standing here today because he's been preaching at the Banner of Truth Youth Conference, and I've just got one very quick question to ask him. What advice would you give to any sort of young men that are thinking about going into the ministry? What advice would you give them, Steve?
Well, it begins with their own personal heart and their walk with the Lord. And you've got to be a godly man. And there are a lot of young men who want to go into the ministry who are trying to be as much like the world as they can be, and they need to be as much like heaven as they can be.
Another church in North Texas set to be looking for a new pastor after theirs was fired, accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a woman. Trinity Bible Church of Dallas announced the indefinite removal of lead pastor Stephen J. Lawson.
So they come into ministry and they have, let's just call it a pet lion, some little sin in their life. I'm not trying to downplay the sin. I'm just saying it's not full grown. It's an area of his life he should be working on or she should be working on. They shouldn't be. They should be confessing this. They should be putting it to death. They should be putting, but they're not. And then God starts to use them because God doesn't need you to be all that he's asking you to be for him to flex. And so God starts using them in profound ways. But they also hadn't put this lion to death. And now that lion's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But so's the platform. The platform's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And with the bigger platform, oftentimes, I don't think we can judge faithfulness by outcomes. Yeah. But the guys we're talking about here, now you got a church of 5,000. Now you got a church of 6,000. Now, who are you going to tell about this lion? Well, you can't tell anybody about this lion.
That's a nice way to say that he came in a creep and he's just become more of a creep.
Oh,
These people
Lord.
just can't say that a big audience doesn't mean that a God has blessed you or you're definitely doing the Lord's work. It just means that you're good at getting people's attention. You're a good public speaker. You're a charismatic person.
I will admit, the man certainly has charisma.
Because there are some pastors, and I think it's the exception to the rule, there are some pastors who grievously fall, they commit adultery, they embezzle church funds, they lie, they did something terrible, they had false teaching, and then they come back and God uses them greatly, and they've truly been changed. But it seems that this is the exception to the rule. All of the men I just listed, they all seem to be fully resisting any genuine life transformation. So the answer is generally no, but sometimes yes. Let's talk about the details. Okay.
Those people just have better PR and are better at acting. They just found a way to continue the con.
So this isn't new. King David, as great as he was, has as much as he was the heart of God, as much as the Bible admires, he did everything in his generation. There was still this incident with Bathsheba.
The incident being an abuse of power for sexual gain and murdering her husband.
And what did it take for King David? He was resting from battle. He was up on a rooftop and he happened to look over the roof and there's Bathsheba. And he goes, boy, she looks really good. And a whole trail of sin comes from that, a whole trail of degradation for him personally and for the Israelite nation. But I remind people, we still read his Psalms. We still sing along to what David wrote.
Yeah.
He's still inspired, and God restored him. So let us have mercy on those who have fallen.
Nah, I'm good. And to be fair, these guys weren't talking about pastors who hurt children. But they set the stage. They make the pastors feel like there's always a redemption arc. Hey, the heroes of the Bible had flaws. God allows U-turns. God will always forgive you, no matter what. They don't need to teach about consent, because all sex is bad. So why would we teach you how to do some bad stuff? Plus, there's the excuse I've heard,
Doesn't that kind of sound similar to what the two ex-gay men said as far as the two consensual gay men being intimate with each other? That is still evil and it's still bad, and you're taking someone down. So again, of course, you can't even teach consent, I guess, not just in the hetero, but in the queer part especially. So it's just very interesting how there are similarities there.
over and over again. The reasons pastors fall is because Satan knows that God is using them, so he is going to do everything he can to tear them down. Like when I did a video about the Jezebel spirit, and I used a clip of a pastor saying this.
Satan is a strategist. So if there's a person who's going to lead 10 people to Christ over his lifetime, and there's another person who's going to lead 10,000 to Christ, whom do you think he's going to attack the most? Satan is smart. He is smart. I mean, he's evil, but he's smart. So he is going to attack a leader. And the larger your church grows, the more the Jezebel spirit's coming after you.
Former megachurch pastor acknowledged what he called an inappropriate relationship on evangelical trips during his 20s with who he described as a young lady.
He stepped down from ministry because of something he did with who he described as a young lady. That young lady was 12 years old. But a sin is a sin.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Sin, right? Young lady, child, what's the difference? Both are bad. Why do we have to get specific? Robert Morris wasn't tempted by the evil one. Robert Morris is the evil one. Recently, he was finally arrested.
Last summer, Robert Morris stepped down as senior pastor of Gateway Church in Southlake, part of a multi-city church network with tens of thousands of worshipers that Morris founded a quarter of a century ago. Monday, he was booked into the Osage County Jail in Oklahoma, days after being indicted on charges of lewd acts to a child.
Before the arrest, before any of this came out, he tried to make his victim sign a non-disclosure agreement in exchange for money so that she could never go public about it. She refused and recently spoke at a hearing where lawmakers are considering whether or not to make it illegal to have people sign NDAs when it comes to sex crimes.
As I began the lifelong journey to sort through these emotional challenges, my life seemed to attract more shame, while Robert's attracted fame. Through decades of counseling off and on, seminars, books, and conversations with friends and family, I have found my way to understanding child sexual abuse, forgiveness, and healing.
He took her childhood, he took her teenage years, he gave her trauma, and he got fame and was known worldwide as being a man of God. If God used this man, fuck that God.
I think that that's exactly what it is, a roller coaster, because at 17, when I told, I did feel as though I was the one at fault, even to the extent that Robert Morris's wife, Debbie, called to tell me she forgave me. So still trying to mature.
Let's clarify that. The wife forgave you for being a 12-year-old who
Yes.
her husband was having sex with, right?
Correct.
I've talked before about people who have had to apologize to the youth pastor's wife after they were sexually assaulted, or had to apologize to the church body for getting pregnant when a church elder forced himself on her. A victim of sexual assault doesn't have to apologize and is not to blame.
But again, I'm not surprised, because these are people who are trying to get rid of empathy so that they can do more of this. But the gag is y'all sit up here and blame it on the queer community. Again, y'all be trying to talk about us, but you be seeing yourself when you see us. So bitch, instead of doing that, go look into a fucking mirror. Cause there's gonna be some motherfuckers out here, girl, that's gonna meet your ass exactly where you at, girl, and remind you of where you at.
I'll end on one more pastor.
Yes, please.
And for every story I talk about today, there are so many more that are not public. This one's about Pastor Andy Savage. And that's Andy Savage, not Randy Savage.
Macho Man Randy Savage. Nothing. Nothing means nothing.
Andy was on the rise. He was a successful pastor with a book about marriage coming out when accusations were made that 2 decades prior, something he'll repeat over and over again, that it was 20 years ago.
A student on staff at a church in Texas more than 20 years ago. This incident was dealt with in Texas 20 years ago.
He sexually assaulted a teenage girl, or as he calls it, had a sexual incident.
I regretfully had a sexual incident with a female high school senior in the church.
There was still this incident with Bathsheba.
Instead of firing him and explaining what happened to the congregation, they let him speak. They gave someone who admitted to hurting a child sexually a stage, a platform.
For any painful memories or fresh wounds this has created for anyone, I am sorry. And I humbly ask for your forgiveness. I love you all very much.
Only apology, if you can even call it that, was when he ran out of the truck screaming, oh my God, what have I done? You have to take this to the grave with you.
I would like to use more of this clip, but due to copyright issues, that's not going to be possible. But she is rightfully heartbroken by his speech. She's heartbroken by the church's response and what happens when he is done talking. They gave him a standing ovation. He then went and hid under a rock, and we don't know where he is to this day. Just kidding. He started his own church. The church is called Grace Valley because God gives grace in the valley. And if you go to the website and look at Andy's bio, you'll see that Andy decided to start this church when he was going through a valley of life. Of course, not mentioned is the valley he was going through was getting caught for sexual assault.
And he gives them a season of recovery from their shame. Some of you have done things, or it's been done to you. You have entered into a season of shame, and which really equals a season of recovery. You need to let your beard grow back out. You need some time. And I talk to a lot of people who are going through valleys. That's kind of my number one thing, right? I want to walk with people through the valley. And I have to say this often. I had to say it this week with a group of guys I was talking to. One of the great lessons that I learned in the valley, and what these men learned with King David protecting them, is that you can't sprint through a valley. Sometimes you just have to sit in it and recover.
This whole thing reminds me of an old Onion video.
A dedicated student and a fierce competitor. But his greatest achievement came off the court in his freshman year when he overcame the trauma of committing a terrible. In his fourth semester, Jacob is succeeding both on and off the court. He has a 2.7 GPA and a steady girlfriend, and he's refusing to let what happened to the girl he define him.
I thought, no way I can make it back after someone, but here I am.
From inside the bench, I'm Mark Howell.
So often, churches view accusations as something that happened to the pastor or to the congregation. We hear about the men as being the victims of the Me Too movement instead of the people they victimized. They talk about how they're going to move on as a church and how they're going to heal together, but they don't talk about the person that was hurt. So many people within the churches are really good at pointing fingers outside of the church, finding evil wherever they can, but never look inward. Jesus said that before you take the speck out of your neighbor's eye, remove the plank from your own eye. Yet the church loves to find non-existent specks wherever they can, and they love to spread fear and misinformation, claiming to be doing it because they care about the children. But if they actually did care about the children, they would start the work at home. They would realize that the call is coming from inside the house.
It's coming from inside the house.
I mean, there's nothing really much more to say. Christians, those of y'all that queer phobic and against the queer community, just like how, believe it or not, was able to do the due deals, I need y'all to do the same thing. I've been asking y'all for the longest time, where's the proof at? Where's the proof? Where's the overwhelming amount of proof and evidence? But you know what I always got? Was Bible scriptures. Hypothetical situations. But here it is, we can actually manifest and react and respond to the shit that y'all motherfucking do. And you too busy trying to get the world together. If I'm not mistaken, when Christ comes back, ain't he gonna be checking the church first? Y'all too busy trying to change the motherfucking world. You forgetting about the city. Y'all over there like Day-Day, bitch. We tight like security of the world, Craig. Not just the city, but the world. Nigga, take care of the motherfucking city first. But don't worry. Because again, we're in the fuck around and find out era of life. We're going to see what people believe and how they walk it out. But we already know how some of these people are going to unfortunately walk it out. They're going to walk it out in a way that's destructive and violent. Because they're insecure with themselves. Because they lack faith. And the fact that y'all sitting up here worried about a drag queen possibly abusing a child. Or a trans person in the bathroom possibly abusing a female or a young girl. Y'all give so much fear and energy to the possibilities, girl, but y'all don't have none of that smoke, none of that fervor for anybody inside the church. Where was the Proud Boys at when they found out that there were youth pastors fucking on little children? Why wasn't they outside the church with they shit talking about what's up, pimping? Huh, we equal out. Fuck, we down with DEI when it come down to whooping ass, bitch. We inclusive when it come down to this shit. We don't give a fuck if it's the motherfucking gay club or the church house. Bitch, we here. Where they at? Where are the people leaving the congregations of somebody who is sexually abusing and assaulting women and children? Where are the people that are leaving churches where pastors have married or were in relationships with those who were underage, and then when it became legal, as soon as the clock strike 12, they all up in this bitch? Where are y'all at? And for you individuals that operate in that way, I'm sorry, not sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry. But a lot of y'all niggas operating in hoe ass energy. And when I mean hoe ass energy, I don't mean hoe as far as what the society says it. But I mean hoe ass energy as far as y'all siphon y'all energy off of other motherfuckers as opposed to getting into an overflow state within your motherfucking self. So again, Christian people, we Need to Talk podcast, hardly initiated podcast. Y'all say y'all real niggas. BMU, y'all say y'all real niggas. Y'all care about the community and all this other type of shit. I need for y'all to start doing lives where y'all talking about shit in-house. Show the people how serious you are by cleaning the house first. And we ain't talking about dealing with the motherfuckers in the congregation. We talking about the motherfuckers that walk up on the anointed stages, that have their anointed positions and anointed titles, who are reverends, pastors, ministers, bishops, overseers, deacons, reverends, all type of second reverend, second pastor, youth pastor, all that type of shit. Make sure you checking that stage first. But it's okay. Because if anybody is showing who really abusing the children, girl, like I said, the queer community could never. Y'all reign in that. Queen Stevie said they couldn't even do it with Lil RT. Was over there for fucking 2-3 hours looking dumb and stupid as hell. And then when the one time came to talk about it, nobody talked about it. But had it been a drag queen reading to the children, girl, all type of creativity, girl, it would be like these motherfuckers just smoked some dope ass sativa, girl, and just came up with ideas like they brainstorming and shit. Let's see what Deshaun's saying. Sean says it is so weird, like these people just want to cherry pick and just create something in their head to make something bad. And if you're gonna cherry pick, Lord, Andrew, back off. If you're gonna cherry pick the Bible, cherry pick things that benefit you and make you better as a human being, so you can give back to a greater capacity. Cherry pick the scriptures of Christ that talk about loving yourself and by renewing your mind. Maybe you should focus on those things which are more humanitarian, so therefore you can do more miraculous work in the world, as opposed to getting instead of pretending like you know what the fuck going on and then forcing the people to pay you they hard-earned money to help you believe some shit. Deshaun says, I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to freaking or fucking be silent over this bullshit. You got the tariffs, but you can't even get your stuff because you just ordered something and now it can't get it because Amazon stopped Temu. Damn. Deshaun says this is absolutely absurd. It's BS. Bullshit. And very soon there's going to be a purge because people are getting tired of being submitted to being in this program. But again, that's what the One World Order wants, because once this is all said and finished, they're getting their money and they're leaving and leaving y'all to pick up the rest of the trash. Queen Stevie says, and the ex-gay movement is doing the same thing that Republicans are doing, which is fear-mongering, because you see how the election was won. It was won off of fear. It's the trans, it's the drag queens, it's the immigrants, it's all of those. It's any of the marginalized groups, except for the ones who are holding on to the oppression to oppress other marginalized groups. Deshaun says now the elites are just laughing at all the people that's down here in this soil. And I live here and you saying you're dumb and you're stupid. We got more money. Now y'all fell for it. This is atrocious. This is trifling. This is mischievous. This is scandalous. This is narcissistic. This is sociopathic. This is barbaric. Everything combined in this country is everything on the list. I mean, again, it is the red, white, and blue. Red for the blood, blue for your bruised skin, and white because that's all right. Queen Stevie said the American Psychological Association has made clear that homosexuality is not a disorder and warns that trying to cure it can lead to intimacy avoidance, sexual dysfunction, depression, and unaliving what's the word? I'm looking for the tip of my tongue because I wasn't trying to really say the word. But thoughts of unaliving oneself, meaning that they'll take their lives, yes. Instead of focusing on the queer community and what we're doing, focus on the in-house issues. And yes, Perry Chick. Harold said, check the pulpit, the pastor study, the teacher break room, the field house where the coach's office is. Check all of that shit. And no, I won't Queen, because again, I'll fuck around and speak some damn shit and say some shit in the frequency and something manifests. Shit. But anyway, y'all, I wanted to say thank y'all for joining me for today's impromptu live. We did good. We are just a little over 2 hours, so I'm okay with that. My max is 3 because I really don't like to be over 3 hours. But if you can, please make sure that you, first of all, subscribe to Believe It or Not. They have so many other different videos that are amazing. Like I said, I'm probably going to do like a watch party off of some of their content again. So go over there and subscribe. Shout out to them. It would be dope to collaborate with them one day because they do have podcast type of stuff, so that would be fun. But shout out to them, subscribe to them. If you can, please make sure you hit that like button because it helps the channel to grow in the algorithms. We are finally at 860, okay? We are on the road to 1K, slowly but surely we're getting there. And no shade, I'm glad and thankful that my ass is over here loving my damn self and healing my shit, so that when my time comes for me to manifest what is mine, bitch, I ain't gonna be allowing motherfuckers to fuck up my shit. I already have a small inner circle, girl. I'm already an introvert. I don't really like being around large groups of people anyway, girl. And as my shit continues to grow, girl, I'm gonna be like Prince and all them motherfuckers, girl. I'll come fuck with y'all every once in a while, but girl, I'm gonna go do my own thing. No shade. I gotta make sure my energy good. No shade. That's why I'm glad that I was born in this era, girl, of social media, to where I can log the fuck in, I can kiki and kaka and all that type of shit with y'all. But when it's time for me to be in my own energy, in my own dwelling, I can log the fuck off and do what the fuck Bubs got to do for Bubs. Because at the end of the day, I'm responsible for my life. I have to work out my own soul salvation. I'm really not responsible for nobody else. And on top of that, I don't have any kids right now. And the way that I'm looking at things, maybe never. I don't know. I got to see how it goes. But I don't have any sort of person that I'm responsible for except myself. So I'm making sure I'm getting my shit together. And I am, I guess, petitioning to y'all is to do the same thing. Work on yourself. Now, you ain't got to be introverted and shit like that, because I'm just like that, girl. Sometimes I just know people be on some weird shit, and I ain't got time for that shit based on how I will respond, because I'm trying to live my best life. You feel me? But I suggest y'all, above all things, love yourself. Love yourself, please. Make sure y'all subscribe if y'all like the vibe on here, BubzDaGawd, okay? And when you do, make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that you can stay up to date with all of my lives and edited content. If there's anything that I've stated in this commentary that you enjoy or that you challenge, or hell, you may want to respond to my commentary, I give you full free use and permission to use it, okay? Just tag me at BubzDaGawd so I know that the shit is real. And if you feel compelled, it's Friday. Well, it's Saturday. I thought it was Friday. It's Saturday. If y'all feel compelled, y'all can definitely hit a nigga up on the Cash App, $BubzDaGawd, baby. We take everything that jingle enfolds. If I did a good live for y'all and y'all feel like y'all want to bless me if you are in a state of some sort of overflow, girl, go ahead. I appreciate it. No shade. Because this goes back into the Bubzverse. Okay, like I said, I'm working on new setups, new all type of shit I'm trying to work on. So, you know, it's a team effort. It's a we effort, okay? So I'm gonna need y'all help on that too. So again, if you want to, you ain't got to. Like, what's the name say? Chris Tucker say on Money Talks, when that one dude was talking about them earrings that he showed, I think it was a ring or some sort of diamond or something, and he was like, you ain't got to give it to me unless you want to. No, I'm just playing. Unless you gonna think about it. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, if you want to bless me. So that's where I'm at. In the Cash App, if you want to do that, that's fine. I'm going to take whatever you give, okay? Shout out to Queen Stevie in the building. Yes, Perry Chick, y'all. One day, y'all, somebody is going to make their version of BubzDaGawd called BubzDaGawd Best Words, like they did Andrew Caldwell, girl. They would take the word that he trying to say and then what he said and put it together. So I know one day somebody gonna do that about me. And when y'all do, I'm a Cash App y'all, because that shit gonna be hilarious. Shout out to Queen Stevie being in the building. Shout out to King Deshaun being in the building. We gotta work on King Deshaun getting on his channel, because baby, I need for him to use his damn strong voice and yelling voice and outside voice on YouTube as well, especially with what he watch, because I can't watch everything. So I'm gonna need y'all help, because shit, I want to learn too. We got King Harold in the building. Shout out to you being here. I believe we had Boy Crazy as well. I think those was all the individuals in the live. Let me see. I'm just going through the comments. Yeah, Boy Crazy. Shout out to you. I think that was everybody. And Fighting the Robots, I believe. Shout out to you. It's been a minute since I've seen you. So, again, I appreciate you being in the building. Again, please make sure that y'all go ahead, okay, and share the content, okay? Shout out to everybody that was in the live. Shout out to everybody that came through and peeked their head in. Shout out to those that were in the bushes, okay? Shout out to the replay gang. And most importantly, shout out to just the short stack revolution. I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all. I love y'all. And we're going to get through this shit. We're going to establish community. And we're going to make this shit work, okay? So until next time, everybody, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Saturday evening. Peace.
I can be anything I choose in this round. We are a sound vibration too deep to tell. Just so you know, I'm the best in the motherfucking world.
Formed against me shall prosper. Oh, it won't work. No weapon formed against me. Give me that ad lib again. No weapon. One more time. No weapon. One more time. No weapon. Bitch. Who the fuck y'all hoes? Okay, the facts are back. So who the fuck y'all hoes think it was, bitch, or what time of day it was? Okay.
You gotta understand that this is a community-based project. We're not getting any funding from the government. I seen bitches out there talking about, wait till Trump hears about this. Trump can suck my dick.
And that's on period to the motherfucking period.